Welcome to the WTR-Small-Cap Spotlight podcast. I'm your host, Tim Gerdeman, Vice Chair and Co-founder and Chief Marketing Officer of Water Tower Research. In today's podcast episode, I'm being joined by Jack Liu, Director of Corporate Development at Ainos, a Texas-incorporated company which trades on the NASDAQ under ticker symbol AIMD. Also joining us is my Water Tower Equity Research colleague, Robert Sassoon. Ainos is an AI-driven company considered to be a pioneer in scent digitization through the development and commercialization of its proprietary AI Nose platform. While Ainos AI Nose technology was initially developed for healthcare applications, 2025 has seen a significant strategic pivot toward expanding Ainos as a critical smell tech provider in verticals beyond the healthcare sector through the establishment of several strategic partnerships. So let me welcome both Jack and Robert to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good to be here too.
So Jack, to kick things off before I hand the podcast over to Robert for additional questions, let me begin by asking you to tell us about AI Nose technology, what it actually consists of, as well as an overview of its capabilities, please.
All right, thanks, team. So pleasure to be here. So Ainos is building the next frontier in AI. We're digitizing scent. Our platform is called AI Nose, and it's more than just a sensor. It's actually a full stack electronic nose, or in short, we call it the e-nose. It is designed to detect, classify, interpret scent signals like a human nose. So we can capture these signals at a very, very quickly and at very, very low levels in parts per billion concentrations. We call it ppbs concentrations. So let me first break down between what we call a gas sensor or an e-nose. So a gas sensor typically detects specific gases like carbon monoxide or ammonia. It tells you what's there and how much. But e-nose, like our AI nose, goes further and beyond. It uses multiple sensors and AIs to read complex gas patterns. So it doesn't just detect, it understands. I'll give a real example. A gas sensor may tell you, well, this is ammonia, whereas an e-nose will say, well, this coffee, or well, that is orange juice. So you see the difference here. So hardware foundation for us is the MEMS gas sensors, which are made using specialized semiconductor processes called MEMS. So MEMS sensors are typically very tiny, fast, energy efficient, and very easy to scale. They are ideal for compact connected devices. And that's why MEMS technology powers so many sensors in your smartphones. And we use MEMS sensors over other sensor types because they're just easier to scale for our use cases. But our AI nose isn't just about the sensors. We built a proprietary AI stack on top. First, we have the smell language model, or SLM, which is like a large language model for scents. I mean, in layman's term, think about this as ChatGPT. Instead of reading text, it reads scent. It interprets scent signals and makes sense of what is happening. And then we layer in the smell ID. It kind of works like a space ID, but again, for scent. Each smell ID is a scent unique digital fingerprint. It can represent real world things like health issue or safety problem or everyday products, for example, a banana. And because AI Nose has collected over 10 years of real world scent data, we believe we have a very powerful data moat, and that gives us a real edge in performance. So you put everything together, it's a platform. It combines hardware, AI, and data services to power our so-called SmellTech as a service business model. That means we can serve customers across industries from semiconductors, smart factories, robotics, automations, and healthcare. And we can therefore develop subscription-based revenues from hardware, software, and data intelligence.
That's a really fascinating technology, Jack, and it's been extremely cool to watch the company evolve over the last 12 months. So with that, I'll turn it over to Robert.
Thank you, Tim. Hi, Jack. While there are numerous and diverse AI products in the market, in both the vision and auditory domains, when it comes to smell, the AI market for that sense seems to be less developed. Are there more challenges in developing AI platforms for smell than for audio or visual applications?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So in our opinion, Smell is one of the most difficult senses to digitize. Unlike vision and sound, scent data is less structured. They drift, they decay, they mix in the ways that are hard to standardize or model. And in environmental variables like temperature, humidity, and background noise, you really got a extremely complex AI challenge. And then there's a data problem, right? Visual and audio AI, you can train on millions of images or sound clips that are readily available from the internet. But scent doesn't work that way. You just gotta physically collect it with sensors in the real world. So it takes time, money, and infrastructures. And that's exactly where we think we build our biggest advantage. AI Knows has done it for over a decade, initially with scent data for medical use cases. That's our deep root in medtech. We were first developed to detect ventilator-associated pneumonia, or VAP. It's a pneumonia very common in the ICU patients, and that's a very high-stake environment where accuracy really matters. We had to detect scent signals from breath at ppb level. So the goal is to shorten the test cycle from what used to be a few days to just a few minutes. And this idea came from an ICU doctor in Taiwan. And then that pushed us to build this very high precision signal processings, advanced calibrations, and really customized sensor arrays that could pick up our target subtle scent patterns. And that foundation really opened door to our next use cases, our women's health. That is our Ainos Flora product. So we apply the same high sensitivity tech to monitor vaginal health and some STI infections, all non-invasively and again within minutes. So the use cases potential user base is not bigger, and the usage rate would likely to be more frequent, and it's also lower stake versus say the pneumonia product that we were talking about. And then in 2024, we started to expand it into senior care. And that's where we really, again, optimizing our strategies. So instead of developing the product as a medical device, for the senior program, we are using it as a non-medical monitoring, like detecting bowel movement in elderly care settings. It's very cost-effective, scalable, and direct addresses growing demand. And we developed this product at the request of one of our Japanese partners. So basically, we're really de-risking our healthcare commercialization pathway. We're still collecting valuable scent data and training AI nodes in live environments, but really without having to wait for this lengthy regulatory approval process typically found in medical devices. So it allows us to prove value, refine our SLM models, and then prepare for commercialization, all deepening our data moat. So yes, the space is very challenging, but our medtech origins, our very sensitive PPP level kind of sensing capabilities, and the structured expansion model gives us a real advantage compared to the others.
Well, thanks for that detailed explanation. So, taking it a step further, would you say, therefore, there are higher barriers to entry, giving AI knows an important competitive edge?
Yeah, I think the barrier is really high. To compete, you really need multidisciplinary expertise across, say, hardware engineering, materials, data science, and AI machine learning, plus long-term access to real-world scent data. So those things are not easy to assemble. We made a strategic choice to buy sensors from the best suppliers so we could focus our internal resources on where we add the most value, the hardware integration, the SLM AI layer, and our Smell ID data set. And more importantly, these sensor companies become our ecosystem partners instead of competitors. Just wanted to add that no, this is not just about sensors. It's about how you control humidity, the temperature, the airflow. So there are a lot of know-hows within the design of the hardware, the module devices that goes into the product. Every deployment really strengthens our SOM AI, expands our smell IDs, and really improve the future accuracy. So that's a compounding data advantage, and that is our moat. AI nodes just get smarter over time, and that's what makes it a SmellTech platform, not just a sensor product. And this is why we were able to do 80% accuracy in distinguishing 22 types of industrial scents in semiconductor settings. We were about 85% accurate in senior care settings. Not too long ago, we were about 80% for testing senior care, 90% accurate in testing everyday scent. So the more data we feed, the more accurate it gets. It's a very simple concept.
Pretty impressive. So let's now talk about strategic partnerships that you've announced in recent months to expand Ainos's TAM across the several industries. So can you run through the strategic goals and commercial opportunities for Ainos from each of those collaborations?
Absolutely. So let's talk about the market data first. So the Ainos market is roughly about 29.8 billion in 2025 based on market data, and growing to around 75.5 billion in 2032. So that's about 14.4% CAGR over time. Actually, industrial application is the biggest market right now, about 54% of the demand. So we are now really getting into the biggest part of this Ainos market. So these industrial partnerships, which we basically formed 4 of them within 6 months, they're a big part of our growth plans into industrial AI. So far, we signed 4 partners. They're all very important: ASE, ChemMech, Solomon, and Yugo. And they'll help us to bring our AI nodes into the real world deployment. So let's start with ASE. This is the world's largest semiconductor packaging and testing company. So ASE has a global footprint across many regions in Asia and even in the US. And they have been implementing smart manufacturing strategies for 13 years now. They got 56 humanless factories. That means that the factory is completely no human involved, just machines. They got 56 of that right now. So to us, this is a major opportunity for scale because our AI nodes really fits into their smart manufacturing strategies. So our partnership with ASE really began with just 2 key sites in Taiwan. And then recently we expanded the relationship to the ASE's holding company levels, and then expanded the potential scope of the cooperation to across their global footprints. So as you can see, this single customer represents a very, very big opportunity for us, and we're very excited. So next, ChemMech and Solomon. So they are both experts in smart factory automation, and they are both NVIDIA's ecosystem partners. So ChemMech and Solomon will allow us to reach more customers in the industrial, in the robotics, semiconductor, and healthcare sectors. So give you an example. Within the semiconductor space, we haven't reached the front end part of the semiconductor manufacturers. ASE is the biggest one in the back end, but we have not had exposure in the front end. Now, through this relationship with ChemMech and Solomon, we might have the opportunity in the future to get into the front end part of the semiconductor value chain. So we'll see about that. And then robotics, Yugo. This is a leading service robot company in Japan. It's our first robotic customers. Yugo gives us immediate access to the growing demand for robots in Japan because their robots are already working in offices, data centers, public facilities in Japan. What we do is add another sensing capabilities, which is smell, into the existing machines. And also, Yugo is expanding in Southeast Asia. So that's additional opportunities for us going forward. And ChemMech and Solomon, because of their customer base, they could also help us reach other robotic companies. So if we put everything together, these partnerships really create a strong ecosystem for us. We bring the AI and scent intelligence. Our partners bring in the scale, the integration, deployment networks over a large customer base. This approach allows us to focus on our core tech, the AI nodes hardware, the SLM AI, and the Smell ID data, while our partners help us deploy AI nodes globally in a more capital efficient way.
So how are these partnerships structured, and how quickly can you actually generate revenue streams for Ainos?
Yeah. So each partnership is structured to sell quickly and cost effectively. We provide the core hardware tech, AI nodes, the software, and the AI. Our partners handle manufacturing, integration, and go to market. So with ASE, we're working on a phased deployment. We're going to start with about 1,400 units of pilots. And then we go into 5,000 units for phase one expansion. And then phase two rollout of about 15,000 units across their facilities. Now, given their scale, I think we're just barely scratching the surface, in my opinion. And then AI nodes will help them monitor the VOCs within their factories in real times for clean room safety, for chemical leaks, for predictive maintenance, and longer term process improvement. And then ChemMech, at the same time, they are our customers and they are our manufacturers. It's integrating AI nodes into its smart factory systems for battery, electronics, and HVAC applications, logistics, healthcare. And they will also manufacture, one of their subsidiaries will manufacture our hardware. So this helps us to scale without CapEx. Solomons brings AI nodes into advanced automation for semiconductor, electronics inspection, defense, and other sectors, combining smell with their machine vision technologies. With Hugo, we just completed the first robotic smell integrations. So their service robots, which are used in offices, data centers, public spaces, will start field testing this year in the second half, focusing on hygiene, gas anomalies, and elderly care monitoring. Their robots are already in the street, so we are just adding an extra function onto their existing infrastructures. So all of these moves us toward our so-called SmellTech as a service business model, where we will be able to generate recurring revenues from device deployments, from AI software, and from data services. So we hopefully this model will start scaling in the second half of this year with a full ramp up in 2026.
Thank you for that detail. Can we expect further partnerships to be announced for the balance of 2025? And which other industries beyond the ones you mentioned might be a good target for Ainos? And just add on, is the expansion Asia centric, or are there plans to expand further afield?
Right. We will be look to develop additional partnerships in the second half of 2025. We're going to be very strategic. We're going to prioritize industrial applications where AI nodes already show strong tractions based on the partnership that I just talked about. Asia is our primary theater for execution because Asia is about home of 70% of semiconductor manufacturing capacities and about 45% of EMS services. EMS means manufacturing of these tech devices, the hardwares. And if you look at Japan, Japan accounts for roughly 38% of the global robotic production. These Asian countries or Asian markets, they're all facing critical labor shortages. That urgency makes this region ideal early adopters of our product for automated smell sensing technologies. So basically, I think we are in the right place. So in the next 90 days, we got an execution plan. Our plan includes number one, scaling pilot deployments with ASE, ChemMech, Solomon across semiconductor and other automation sectors. We'll be field testing AI nodes equipped Yugo robots in public facilities across Japan. We will be deepening our software integration to drive recurring SLM and Smell IDs revenues. In August, we'll be working with Yugo and ChemMech to display this Yugo robots with AI nose in a major automation show in Taiwan, and that will hopefully open more doors for us. Quickly on healthcare. So we're actively developing partnerships around our senior care. We already got partners in Japan for this product. And next, we want to develop opportunities in Taiwan. And we picked these two markets first because Taiwan and Japan both facing aging populations, and they both have very AI-friendly senior care policies. So great place for us to scale this senior care program. For Ainos Flora, our product for women's health, we are actively looking for partnerships to market the product. But meanwhile, we will continue our clinical studies in Taiwan. It's a medical device. And we're doing studies in Taiwan for our second generation Flora, which is optimized for at-home testing market. Looking further out, we think there are, by sectors, we think there are opportunities in food safety and other consumer-facing applications. And that's why in our lab, now we are training AI, continue to train AI nose to recognize everyday scents like coffee, like banana, fruit, drinks. And so far, we have delivered about 90% accuracy, and just gonna get better. So this is laying the foundation for this long-term upside potential. But near term, our focus is clear. We're gonna scale the industrial and healthcare deployments. We're gonna execute with speed in Asia, and then strengthening our position as a leading SmellTech platform company. Now, given that industrial application, going into this market is actually part of our strategy to de-risk, because then there is no lengthy regulatory medical device kind of pathways that we need to overcome. The time to market should be a lot shorter, in our opinion.
Right. Well, thank you for all of that, Jack. Great insights into Ainos and the development of the markets and development of Ainos in that regard. So I'm just going to pass it back to Tim.
Thanks, Robert. Jack, just kind of wrapping up, it's exciting to see a small cap company pioneering something as foundational and frankly as underexplored as smell and AI. We will be watching closely as Ainos scales into more sectors and regions.
Right. Thanks, Tim. So as a closing remark, we believe smell is the next key missing sense to be digitized. Smell, in our opinion, is going to be AI's next token, and Ainos is leading that charge. We're excited for the outlook for us. Last but not least, we absolutely welcome American or European robotic companies to work with us. And thank you for the opportunity for us to share our story.
I can genuinely understand the excitement, by the way. I mean, this is really, really needed technology. So thanks for joining us today, Jack Liu, Director of Corporate Development at Ainos, NASDAQ ticker symbol AIMD. And thanks to my equity research colleague, Robert Sassoon, for also joining. Finally, a special thanks to the WTR producer and editor of the podcast, Joe Brunetto. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe, as well as visiting www.watertowerresearch.com to stay up to speed on the company's small cap written research reports, podcasts, fireside chats, and conference schedules. We will see you next time for another edition of the WTR Small Cap Spotlight podcast.